a pulled hamstring. That's what. Let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to mute him for a second. Welcome back to episode 25 of Going the JC Route. I'm JC. That's the Birdman. That's AJ Brock. He unmuted himself because he's on the road. He's actually on site. You want to give him a view? I'll show you a second.
Yeah, here, we'll give the view. And behind home plate and everything with the misses.
That's actually so
now
he's
they're
doing a
making
little
a
bit of a
pitching
road
change.
game.
They're making a
but-
pitching
All right,
change.
so let's get down. Let's get
But
down to business.
that's actually really, really fun because that actually leads into what we were going to talk about primarily tonight, and that's baseball. Since, there's nothing much else going on right now.
No,
I say
that's
that.
pretty much it.
I say that. The Stars are in the playoffs. They could hopefully
Yes.
walk the number one team in the Central.
The NFL draft's around the corner though, but first and foremost, we're talking about baseball because it just opened up. So
And then we're gonna let AJ Brock head out after that so he can finish the game. But we're gonna continue our Mavericks conversation after the mess that was. But how are the Rangers looking so far? How are we feeling?
Man, it's a complete 180 from how they started last year. I'll say that much.
It feels like forever since we've won an opening day game.
Dude, it feels like forever since we've been atop of our division. We're winning the AL West right now. It's granted, it's still very, very, very young season, but still, it's kind of fun. But no, the game's good.
I think they're playing up to what the potential should be.
If they're able to win 2 out of every 3 games, we're winning over 100 games this year. So
Oh yeah.
I'll take that.
Oh yeah. Speaking of which, they're making a pitching. The Royals just pulled Lyles. They're making a pitching change. I'm tallying up. We are baseball geniuses, especially this one right here. So we're tallying up our books right now. Although, I don't know. Are you a genius, or is it just looking over at mine after every play? I'm looking over at yours.
Hey, I got a question. After what is this? Is it the 10th or 11th game?
This is what?
Well, what is this? The 10th or 11th game? After the 11th game, which is the game tonight, how do you feel about the new rule changes?
It hasn't affected me negatively yet, so I'm okay with it. But there's definitely, I don't know if I'm sold on it, but I also don't hate it. I'm still very neutral about it because it hasn't affected me negatively or positively yet. I know that one game went only an hour and 43 minutes, so that's nice. But then you have what happened to Manny Machado. So
That's ridiculous. Hour 43 minutes.
I know a baseball game went an hour and 43 minutes.
Chris asked me this earlier, and I was telling him honestly, I've always been more of a baseball purist, so I don't really care for him. I'm kind of in the same boat in some sense. Okay, that's hella annoying. I'm gonna mute you for a second. But I've been more of a baseball purist, so I've for the most part, just in theory, I'm against the new rules. Like, I don't like that. You can end a game on a botched freaking pitch clock by the batter.
Yeah.
Or same thing. I don't like that. Max Scherzer or whoever else, Nestor Cortez can play stupid games with a pitch clock because the batter did something dumb. Like, that's just not the spirit of baseball. And kind of in the same vein, banning the shift, like, that is what it is. But at its core, stupid Manfred is erasing part of the chess match that is baseball in the hopes of maybe creating more offense. That just seems like a terrible trade-off to me. Like let the teams do what they want to do. Not very, but to your point, also like hasn't exactly infected me much, so it is what it is.
I think they could benefit. I think they could expand the pitch clock a little bit more.
It's getting loud. Cool. Okay, I appreciate you.
Okay. Now we're good. No, I mean,
Okay.
James, you took the words right out of my mouth. I'm a baseball purist, but it hasn't affected me one way or the other. We currently, by the way, second, first, Nate Lowe is up to bat. Did you see he won the Silver Slugger?
Yeah, I knew that.
Although, and did you see Heaney last night? He said he tied the AL record for most consecutive strikeouts.
Which that kind of caught me up by surprise because he didn't exactly have a great first outing. And actually, like the first time through our rotation, the top three was like, all right, we're looking good. And then we went through Gray and Heaney and we're like, well, that wasn't good.
Right.
I mean, honestly, though, if we could win 3 out of 5 games, that'll set us up halfway decent.
I like how the rotation has been pitching so far. It's been
I was watching the game on Saturday or Sunday over the weekend. They're talking about how good our bullpen's been, and I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
What? Well,
I mean, our bullpen's...
No, the bullpen's been holding their own.
When I thought about it, I was
Yeah,
like,
it has.
realistically, that's been our problem so far is our pitching's
Mhm.
been really decent to good, and it's been our offense that's been inconsistent. And the point I was kind of thinking about was, we went from
I think
being consistently bad to being bad with streaks of good. And now, so far through, 2 weeks of
11 games
this year, we've been good where we've had streaks of kind of, well, what the hell?
Bad.
And so in my head, that shows progress over the course of the last 3 to 4 years, going from bad to bad with a little bit of good to more good with a little bit of bad. That shows progress, and that's what we need if we want to be able to compete again at the highest level.
Yeah. I mean...
Yeah.
Yeah. The mute. Nice. This is so funny.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
But no, I like how going into the year, nobody's really given the Rangers much of a chance. And so far this year, they've been halfway decent. We're like 6% into the season. This is such a mess. What the hell is this?
Oh, I know. But it's been a complete turnaround. They've been playing good ball.
No.
But gentlemen,
look at the screen.
1 sec.
Hey, look at the screen.
Oh, what the heck? Chris's cat just walked up in front of the... But hey.
Oh, no. This is
wait,
such
come
a
on.
mess.
That'll do it. 6-3.
But no, I think it's a lot of fun. Any other surprises in baseball this year so far?
Surprises?
I mean, not a. So let me ask you this, because here's one other thing I've been kind of following a little bit. Trout and Ohtani are so good.
Yes.
What the hell are the
yeah.
Angels doing?
But you could ask that through most of Trout's
They're
career.
being the Angels. Hold up, DeGrom's done for the night. We have a pitching change.
I mute yourself. But the
right,
whole
guys,
the
hey.
whole Trout.
I've got to get back to I've got to get back to date night. I'll hit everyone up in the show next week. All right, fam.
This is
To all the viewers out there, peace. Go Rangers. You got anything to say? Later.
get out of here.
Bye.
Get out of here.
I think what the Angels are doing to Ohtani and Trout should be arrested. I feel bad for both of them, but also on the same note, Trout kind of did it to himself. Trout did it to himself.
They had a game. I think it was over the weekend where they lost the game, and I don't remember what exactly, but it was something like Trout and Ohtani had combined for like 3 hits.
Yeah.
And the rest of the team had 0.
It's just they like it's one of those things where, like, you know, one thing I've noticed, especially with that, like, I think in any sport, just about, like, you talk about really with basketball and like football, I feel like you could get like 1 or 2 stars and really turn that team. Maybe not football, but you know, you could turn a team. With baseball, I mean, you got 2 generational talents right there, and they may or may not make the playoffs.
Oh, they're not going to make the playoffs.
At some point.
If the Rangers are going to be competitive this year, which so far it looks like they will be to some extent, you know, fingers crossed we stay healthy. You know, Corey Seager went out tonight with a hamstring injury, but if we're going to be competitive, you're going to add us to the Astros, where we know they're going to be competitive on a season-long basis. And then also you've got the Mariners in the division this year that made the playoffs last year, and I don't see why they would drop off significantly this year. So you add that to, you know, the Central, where realistically in the Central it's going to be the Guardians. It feels like it's going to be the Guardians and the Twins, and like, who else is in that division? The Tigers are bad. The White Sox are not good. Who am I forgetting?
Let me see. Royals.
They're awful. So,
yeah,
like, it's gonna be the Guardians and the Twins and like everybody else in that division this year. So,
and that,
and then you got the East, where you know the Yankees are gonna be good. The Rays are undefeated. They're like 11-0.
The O's are gonna be better.
O's are gonna be better. I don't know. I'm not sure if the Red Sox are gonna be good this year. Not looking too hot so far. And then the Blue Jays were supposed to be good, but they've been kind of bad so far. So it's one of those things where you've got, you know, 2, 3, 5, 8 teams competing for, what is it, 5 spots already.
Mm-hmm.
And that's without, you know, picking up another team or two that may or may not be good. And it's just, it's not looking good for the Angels, especially in a division where there may be at least 3 teams that are somewhat competitive.
Yeah, it's going to be a very competitive division for sure. I mean,
well, that's one nice thing about baseball.
You got the defending champs.
That's the one nice thing about baseball is, like, you've got to be good to make the playoffs, like really, really good. Unlike basketball, where there's going to be 3 teams in the West under 500 that make the play-in, but that's another conversation.
Well, that's because they created an entire thing called the play-in, which up until about 3 years ago didn't even exist, or 4 years ago.
You went from having 16 out of 30 teams making the playoffs to 20 out of 30, which is there's no need for that. There's just
at some point they're just going to do 30 out. At some point they're just going to do 30 out of 30.
Everybody, there's just a big play-in tournament.
Pretty much.
The same thing.
It's like the NCAA.
The top 6 all get in automatically, and then the other freaking was it 9 teams in the conference have to play through the play-in to get the last. So the last ranked team in the conference could, in theory, make the playoffs. That's so stupid.
Yeah.
Because that's especially stupid because you'd waste a game because you'd get somebody like San Antonio this year who's purposely tanking to make to get the first overall pick, and you're gonna get them tank a play-in game, which is stupid. But imagine if they made the playoffs, that'd be crazy. But
I want to talk about them.
I guess our baseball conversation's done so far. We don't have.
It's still early. To wrap it up. It's still early. 11 games, but so far it's looked really good. I mean, it's a long.
I mean, that was
season,
our biggest
so,
complaint last year. Was especially with the Rangers was our offense was okay to decent.
Can I say one more date discrepancy? I feel like I think that and granted it's still early. They can fix all the kinks, but there's been some games where like the game against the Cubs when Perez pitched, there were several errors that caused him to lose that game. And there was quite a few.
Sloppy.
The defense, I think, has been a little sloppy. You can obviously fix that. Now, if we're middle of the season and I'm still saying that, that's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
But like right now, I think early on the defense seems to be a little behind. That's the other. You talk about the hitting's been hit or miss. Pitching's been pretty good, with the exception of a couple hiccups. And the rotation's been surprisingly living up to its standards. But I think the defense is another thing that's like. I know it's early, but it's you got to be a little bit better than what you have been. But yeah, we'll see what happens the rest of the season. All right, now let's talk about something that was disappointing.
There was one thing I wanted to touch on before you cut in, which is fine. It feels like so far, assuming we stay healthy and we continue on this path, it seems like the Rangers addressed the biggest issue we had qualms with last year, which was our pitching, because our offense was decent enough to win games, and it was our pitching that couldn't keep other teams from scoring. And so far this year, our pitching's been like the rock. Just about every starter's had a good day so far, but it's been our offense that's either been amazing or non-existent. And that's I feel like that's what's cost us some games so far. If we're able to find some sort of consistency where we're, scoring 5-6 runs a game, okay, now we're cooking. I don't want to see us score 11 runs, 9 runs, and then have 2 or 3 games in a row where it's like 1, 3, 0, and because that does us no good. We've got to be able to score runs to win games. Now that we've kind of switched the script of, hey, we're able to some for the most part limit what other teams score. We've got to be able to score consistently now.
Yeah. Yep.
The offense. We'll see how that progresses over the course of the year. We've got to talk Mavericks because a season ago, we were in the Western Conference Finals, and this year we don't even make a play in, and
hold on. It gets worse because not only did we not make the play-in, but the last 2 games they decided to completely give up, not even like completely tank, and now they're under investigation. And if we could end up with the 10th pick, but we could have tanked for no reason if they go under investigation and decide, you know what, we don't want you don't deserve your first round pick. So all of this that they just did could be worth nothing. And
imagine we get the number 1 pick and they take it away from us.
They better figure something out. Better figure out something in free agency, because I know Doncic probably deserves a fair amount of criticism, but like it's not all on him. There have been several games where he had to pull us out of the fire, and at some point you got to give the man help. And while I was on board with the Kyrie Irving deal, like that was not what you needed. You needed somebody that can play defense and rebound.
Well,
that was not what you.
What was the first video we made with our qualms? And it was, we got rid of better defense, significantly better defense for marginally better scoring. And that's exactly how it played out over the course of the rest of the season. Was at first we were like, okay, this looks pretty good. But then the defensive inconsistencies became, for lack of a better word, consistent over the course of the rest of the season.
Yeah.
And it cost us games. I fully believe if we kept Dinwiddie and Doe, we make the playoffs. I fully believe that. Now that's not saying it's a problem that we have Kyrie and Luka together. So I feel like they could, in theory, work together. The problem is if you're going to do that, we've got to find significantly better defense with the other three players that are going to be on the floor at the time, right? Because we really like Jaden Hardy, right? We really like
but he's not
Josh Green, but they're not going to solve all your problems on defense. Josh Green's pretty good.
No.
Jaden Hardy's a baller. He's going to go score. He's not going to play defense. So
no.
That means in this offseason, we're looking at a complete overhaul of the team. And that doesn't exactly give me a lot of confidence going into next season.
Well, but the thing is that this is basically it because, Luka didn't admit it, but you got to think that he is just about done. If you cannot get a team out there that can help, whatever, and he's got to participate in the defense as well, which he did last year. But he also had
a lot more help last year. Jalen Brunson, not only was he able to score, he played good defense. Now he's blowing up with the Knicks, right?
And that's also the fault of the front office. They could have taken care of that, and they didn't. And now he's making them pay.
Well, it's funny because Nico Harrison had an interview today where he's talking about. He's like, I think Luka and Kyrie can work together. It's the rest of the players that we've got to put around them that's successful. I'm not convinced of that yet because you're talking about retooling 6, 7, potentially 8 players out of a 12-man roster. Outside, first of all, you got to re-sign Kyrie. That's the biggest freaking difficulty, right? But then outside of Kyrie and Luka, who are you keeping? Jaden Hardy, Josh Green.
Yes.
That's 4, right? I'm guessing from what I hear, Dwight Powell is expendable at this point.
Christian Wood's
gone. I believe JaVale McGee's under contract next year.
Yeah, he is. Christian Wood's gone.
They said they're going to let Christian Wood leave. Markieff Morris said on Twitter he's coming back next year, which honestly, I don't have a problem with because he's that big enforcer body. We probably could have used to have a lot more playing time this year and just didn't get any.
You know what? Can I start, thinking about it, what could have happened? Some of it's also on the head coach because, there was times where he put in just the guys that should have been in there to win the games were not put in there in the moments that they needed to be in there.
I don't know why we thought Jason Kidd was going to be a good head coach coming to Dallas.
I think first off,
the reason why we thought it was going to work was because his system fits Luka's style better, which is fair. However,
can I?
Fine.
For me, it wasn't. I didn't think I was not up to the idea of it working. I was up to the idea of, okay, let's see where this goes. And then I think what really happened was the first half was not good, was not great last year. They struggled, much like they did at the beginning of the second half this year. What happened was somewhere around Christmas, between Christmas and the All-Star break, there was a complete switch where they went from just playing lackluster to, okay, now they play defense and they have a knack of coming from behind and winning key games when they need to. That's what happened is that, and if you were watching how they were playing defense, everybody was on a string, moving when they need to. Luka is not a great defender, but he was participating in how great in the defense that they were playing. And, in the game 7 against the Suns, everybody was contributing. I mean, there's a videotape of Jason Kidd fully, talking to the defense, telling them where they need to, all that different stuff. And I think that Jason Kidd, just from the interviews that you see, the press conferences, I feel like he just kind of stopped caring. I think there was a moment where he's just like, because he was so much more engaged last year than he was this year.
So here's a question. I forgot where I was going with my freaking rant before you cut in.
Sorry.
Oh, it was Jason Kidd.
Yeah.
In theory, he's got organizational love from the fans, obviously. Drafted a Maverick, just about finished his career with the Maverick and won a ring with the Mavericks, right?
Yes.
And then as a coach, his system fits Luka's style better than Rick Carlisle's did. Rick Carlisle was proven as a coach. The problem with Jason Kidd is, look at his track record. He's never had incredible success as a head coach. So I don't know why that would be different, right? Now, in theory, you get rid of Jason Kidd before you get rid of Luka Doncic, right? Like, Luka's
by far
top 3 player in the league. However, I've got to ask the question, because I like to piss people off, apparently. What if we traded Luka? I hate doing this because there's no need to do this.
No.
He's already said he's committed to the team. Right? He's like, the trade rumors are stupid. However, we've got to ask the question:
if it happens,
would it be different? Right?
Here's the thing. There's a positive that comes with a Luka Doncic trade, as bad as upsetting or as angering as it could be, because he is a star of a player. So if you can trade him and get something big in return. And here's the thing, to me, I won't be.
Did you read that?
Upset.
Did you read that that article I sent you a couple weeks ago?
I don't think so, but I won't be upset.
It was basically hey, where can Luka go if he's traded, right? And honestly, not a lot of the trade packages were like, I was like, huh, that's good, right? There was one that caught my eye, and it was the Utah Jazz, okay? And obviously you'd rather have Luka than all these players, but it caught my eye because what the package was 5 or 6 first round picks and trade swaps.
That's nice.
You build a franchise with that, right? In addition, it's Colin Sexton and Kelly Olynyk, right? Colin Sexton's a good guard. Kelly Olynyk's a big that's going to eat up salary, right? Also, Walker Kessler, who's like one of the best young big men in the league this year.
Yeah, he's been balling for sure.
And Ochai Agbaji, like, he can score.
He just had a 30-point game, I think, the other day.
The one thing I would argue that I would rather have in that trade is Lauri Markkanen.
Yeah. I mean,
because imagine
it's going to be hard.
It would be hard to do, like, pull that off. But imagine you get a package of like even like 4 first round picks, and you get Sexton, I don't know, Kessler and Markkanen, right? Now you've got.
I mean, that'd be.
Now you've got 2 young players you can build around. If you're able to keep Kyrie, now you've got your ball handler, you've got your 2 guard, and you've got your wing shooter in Lauri Markkanen with a young budding big man.
And you got Josh Green and
Jaden Hardy, right? Like, now you've got my attention a little bit, right?
But like I said, I'd be irritated the idea of him being traded, because you've tried everything and now this is what happened. Or you didn't. No. We didn't try everything. They didn't try enough, And now this is what happens because you got a disgruntled superstar. But what will really upset me is if we get to the end of his free agency and we've done nothing, or at the end of his contract and we've done nothing.
Well,
and he's just leaves.
I want to preface this with that's a doomsday scenario.
Which,
obviously, we don't.
That's a long way. So that's like 3 or 4 years off.
Trade him or get rid of him.
No,
I'm more saying what if. Plus, also, I'm starting to get into the boat of I'd kind of like to see something different because when I watch the Mavericks play with him on the court, it's no fun. It's literally playing ISO ball. Give the ball to Luka and let him do something with it.
If anything, the Kyrie Irving trade brought that discrepancy out big time because the first 2 games when Kyrie was traded here, it was without Luka. Actually, the first 3 games. And
guess what? All they did was defend and pass the freaking ball around.
That was the first 3 games. It was fluid. It looked like not that they're the Warriors. It looked like they were the Golden State Warriors. Yeah. When Doncic came back, it was still ISO ball, and honestly, it looked like a mixture of ISO ball and what Irving wanted to do, which I would much rather do the Warrior way, which is a lot of movement of the ball,
fluidity, passing of the ball. You're moving it around.
Yeah.
It creates better matchups and more free, more high quality shots than ISO.
And I've said this for
stars. That's the point, right? But
I've said this for many.
But ISO ball it puts a boring product on the floor, and if it's not working, it's not working. You're gonna have a bad night.
And another thing, it puts your shooters in a very bad position because it's okay. You got 5 seconds to shoot it, and now you missed. The thing that I've always said is that the Warriors' offense made Curry a lot better than he was. He's already an amazing shooter, and he's got the quickest release. But what makes it even harder for whenever you're playing against him is that whenever he gives the ball up, he's already across the court, and then he's coming back over here to catch the ball and then shoot it. And the ball is constantly moving, so now you have to have your head on a swivel to figure out where the ball is going, and then by the time you see the ball over there, it's going over there, and they're making it. Which it's also harder. You can get some turnovers off of that, but yeah, the ball movement was fantastic for the Warriors, and it was nice the first 3 games for the Mavericks. But I mean, they gotta maybe find a mixture somewhere where maybe every other possession Luka's doing something like that. But yeah, something's got to change with that.
And
by the way, Edmonton and Colorado are going to the end of the first with tied at 1.
Okay. If you can't tell, I'm rather frustrated with the Mavericks this year because we took a significant step back from one year to the next, which is never fun to see.
Extremely frustrating.
But it wasn't like things out of your control, like, hey, 2 of our best players got injured, right? It was a direct result of things we can control. Player decisions, personnel decisions, game plan, and it all failed. Just all failed.
Yep.
And that's
from the very, very top to the bottom. And it's even extending, like I said, it's even extending further in the regular season because we may not even get a draft pick. And that's because of incompetence. It's like I feel like there's a quite a bit of hype after what we did last year. And I mean, you talk about just couldn't be further from what the hype was. They desperately have to fix it, and there's a part of me that thinks that it might not be fixed because Mark Cuban seems to be more concerned about fighting than actually trying to fix stuff. And even so far as doing the whole panic where he tried to what did he do? He tried to challenge a review that was going to fail from the beginning. and then he does the whole tanking thing, and doesn't does a whole tanking thing, which he may be the worst owner in Dallas right now.
I'd say Jerry Jones is very, very. I'd say Jerry Jones is comfortably in that number 1 seat for now. But
even they're
Cuban is slowly getting on my nerves at the moment, which is a shame because for so long I've actually liked Mark Cuban.
Yeah. Well, I think what happened, it was after the championship game, and then once Shark Tank happened, that's whenever.
It's a mess, and I don't like it because you're pissing me off. Thank you.
Hopefully it's better next year.
I was looking at something that caught my eye. Hold on. I'll just say I think it's a little fresh for us to also make our final decisions, because play-in hasn't even started yet.
No, play-in's going on right now.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Well, shit. Oh well. Who cares? Mavericks aren't in it. Freaking Warriors are probably gonna win again. Let's be honest. It's probably gonna be the Warriors again.
As long as the Lakers don't.
I am gonna go watch some hockey though, because Stars are looking good so far. Hopefully, we get that number 1 seed in the Central and play.
Go Oilers tonight. Go Oilers tonight.
What?
Just tonight. I said go Oilers tonight.
Yes. Have the Jets won yet?
Oh, I forgot about that. Hold on.
We're Jets fans tonight, and we are.
Oh crap! Winnipeg's up 2-1 with 8:30 left to go in the game.
Well, that's expected. Wouldn't be the first time Rick Bowness is choked.
Nope, it won't.
I want to show you something that caught my eye. This is completely off topic. This was not planned for tonight, but I want to show you this because it caught my eye. It's actually really interesting. So, I found this document. This Mike Clay, some guy that works at ESPN, as of today, made a complete projection for each team, as well as positional rankings, strength of the schedule, draft order, everything for this upcoming season. And I want to look through the Cowboys real quick. As you know, Texas, we like football. A couple things I thought was really interesting. Tony Pollard, obviously our leading rusher, projected 1,100 rushing yards, close to 1,500 total all-purpose yards. I like that. Ronald Jones is still going to have another 700-800 total yards. I like that also.
That's a solid.
CeeDee Lamb is projected to be the only wide receiver over 1,000, but Cooks and Gallup both get close. Okay, and then interesting, we're going to get very little production out of the tight ends this year without Dalton Schultz. Ferguson, Hendershot, McKeon.
I don't know. I like Ferguson and Hendershot. I feel like that's a little bit
too.
Under.
It is definitely a step down from Dalton Schultz. Also,
yeah, but Schultz was primarily just a wide receiving tight end. I feel like Hendershot and Ferguson are a mixture of the two, and I think that's going to be over what that number says.
New kicker Tristan Vizcaino. I thought that was really interesting.
As long as he doesn't miss field goals.
Offensive line is as we expected. Smith, Biadish, Martin Steele. Defense.
Yep.
There honestly wasn't much defense. Our safeties are the same as last year. Secondary is the same plus Stephon Gilmore.
Yep.
Linebackers the same. Edge players are the same, and then defensive line is the same. So our defense on paper is pretty much the same as last year. And
depends on how the draft goes.
If you look over here, defense ranked in the top 10 for most things. Our offense rushing offense looks like it's going to be pretty good. Here's the one. Ranked number 1 in interceptions on our passing offense. Yeah, okay.
30th in sacks.
Strength of schedule.
That's because
our schedule next year is actually pretty weak, apparently. We're favored in all but 3 games.
Let's see.
Home against the Chargers, home against the Bills, and home against the Eagles. No, those are all road games. Sorry. At Chargers, at Bills, at Eagles.
That makes sense.
And then you got a couple close ones at Miami, at San Francisco,
at home against
Philly and Dallas. I see that. But when you realistically look at it, our schedule is not hard. We've got the Lions at home.
Miami.
We play Carol. This is what happened. It looks like no, I guess not. But you've got Arizona.
I'm actually a little
Jets.
Yeah.
Patriots. And then you've got the rest of it. They're projecting about 11 wins, which if we go 11-6 next year, I'm happy with that, honestly.
I'm a little surprised that that San Francisco game is going to be very interesting.
Very, very interesting. The other thing I wanted to look at, I did not look at it yet, was Eagles. Doesn't really matter if I'm being honest. They're projected to actually win fewer games than us. 10.3 compared to 10.8. Their strength of schedule is actually Can we look at the other 2 teams in the division to see what their projected win is? Let's see. Their Eagles are actually the same. They're favored in all but 3 games. At Dallas, Buffalo and Philly, and then at Kansas City. All makes sense.
Yep.
Then we got the Giants. They're projected to win 7 games. Oops.
About 8-ish. So you're looking at a team that's probably
8. Their strength of schedule is actually right close to ours as well, except they're only favored in 3, 4, 5 games, 6 games.
Yeah, they're going to be the worst team in the division for sure.
Well, we say that, then we look at the Commodes. They're projected to win 6 games.
Really?
And they're favored in none of them. That's not surprising. I mean, you're going to start Jacoby Brissett this year. I mean,
I think that's their biggest issue. They haven't had a quarterback in
years, dude.
Yeah, I know. But like if they had a decent quarterback, that win total I feel like jumps a little bit more. But I mean, when you have Brissett and Howell, I mean, there's not a lot of reason to be excited.
I mean, you've got decent weapons. Brian Robinson, Antonio Gibson, Scary Terry, Jahan Dotson, Curtis Samuel. Decent weapons.
They got weapons.
You just need a quarterback.
But,
exactly. Tight end.
Mm-hmm.
Their defense is good. Like, I love their front 7. Payne, Allen, Ridgeway, Young, Sweat.
I wish we had Ridgeway.
Didn't we draft him?
He would help us. Yep. Mm-hmm. And then we put him on the practice squad.
Typical. Dak is projected to be the 11th best quarterback,
which is where he's normally is. That's like the.
I'd say he's about top 10, like borderline top 10 quarterback. That's what we've always kind of thought, like right in that range with Kirk Cousins, Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson. Like that's a decent range. I like that.
And
Tony
you could
Pollard
probably
is,
see him jump. You could probably see him jump a couple of those guys, Daniel Jones, and maybe
oh
Trevor
yeah,
Lawrence,
100%.
depending on how he has.
Because we don't know how good Jacksonville's going to be. We don't know how good the Giants are going to be.
And you do, and on top of that, you don't know how good.
Very good.
If we're talking about Deshaun Watson that went from his last season playing before the whole accusation stuff, you talk about Deshaun Watson that's probably top 5 quarterback. But the fact that he did all that stuff and hasn't really played an entire season, I wonder if he's going to be there, or Dak could trump.
Well,
that,
to be fair,
what steps he made from last year to this year.
To be fair, you can also see a couple quarterbacks jump him. You've got Aaron Rodgers below him. We've already said Kirk Cousins right below him. Tua, if he stays healthy, is down here. Matthew Stafford, if he gets healthy again. Derek Carr's in New Orleans, a new place. That's going to be interesting. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think that'll be really, really fascinating. Tony Pollard's 7th on the list. Which that looks about right. I wouldn't say
that makes
much is better than him.
No.
I think CeeDee Lamb is also 7th, which I really like.
Stephon Diggs, Devontae. I mean, yeah.
We've got Cooks down here at 35th. And then Gallup at 45th. That's about right. Tight ends were nowhere on the board.
I said, I think the tight ends could surprise some people.
Tight end, I mean, Dallas is 34th, is their first tight end, I believe. Yeah, Jake Ferguson is 34. Meanwhile, you've got Dalton Schultz at 12 with Houston. It's not surprising.
I mean, that's just,
I want to see this. This is fascinating to me. Projections. Dak is not in the top 10 of pass attempts. Makes sense. They want to run the ball. He is in the top 10 of yards, though, so that's decent big play ability. He's also in the top 10 for touchdowns. Pass TDs, 28. If he gets less than 30 next year, I'd be really disappointed, if I'm being honest. Let's see. What's this? Interceptions? Go figure.
Dak first, yeah. Yeah.
That's not good. Sacks. Dak's not on it. You don't want to be on that list. And we got carries. I'd hope Tony Pollard is getting a good run next year. Rush yards.
Offensive line is healthy. Then he should be
Pollard.
Fine.
Targets. CeeDee Lamb's in the top 10 for targets. I would hope so.
Oh, well.
CeeDee Lamb. If CeeDee Lamb gets less than 100 receptions, I'll also be kind of sad next year, depending on the type of volume that Brandon Cooks and Michael Gallup has. Like if CeeDee Lamb's getting less than 100 receptions, I want each of them to have like 60 to 70 receptions. Honestly, they need to be in that range. CeeDee Lamb over 1,000, perfect. Receiving touchdowns. CD not in the top 10 for receiving touchdowns. That's
you see who he is though.
Amari Cooper. That would be frustrating, to say the least. Tony Pollard total touches. Tony Pollard for scrimmage yards. Yep, I would hope so. Same thing with scrimmage TDs, 10 total. I would hope Tony Pollard has more than 10 total TDs, but it is what it is. Carry percent. Tony Pollard with less than 50% of the carries. That'll be interesting, considering our second is Ronald Jones. Okay.
It could be Deshaun. It could be Bijan if the draft goes accordingly and they
projected standings. Cowboys will win the East, which we saw that.
It'll definitely be close between us and
we're projected to have the best point differential, which that would be really good. I'd really like to see that, because that means we're not only winning, we're winning convincingly more than half the time. Give us the 29th. They put us at 29th in the draft. projections, that means we would make the NFC Championship game. We already know that's not going to happen, so thanks. This is bad projections. Uh, thanks for that.
Who will we play?
This has us as the number 1 seed. That makes me nervous. But actually, the playoffs would be fascinating. Hey. Seahawks, Niners, Lions, Saints, Eagles, Vikings. That would be fascinating.
Yeah.
Honestly, strength of schedule, we're near the bottom, which means we have a relatively weak schedule. Actually, no.
So in theory, we should.
We have one of the harder schedules.
Oh, I mean, yeah. I mean, you talk about playing the San Francisco team that we played last year. That was pretty good. I mean, Philly's probably going to be maybe not as good, but they're still probably going to be tough.
I'm surprised at this running back grade. Running back grade is a little scary, which honestly not surprising, but I figured it wouldn't be that bad. Our tight end ranking, of course, is very bad. We knew that because we lost our top tight end, and we're not. Even though we like Ferguson and Hendershot, we don't really know what large scale production we can expect out of them.
There's a lot of, as much as I think that they can, there's a lot of unknown with those two because I mean you just haven't seen them get a lot of a lot of passes thrown their way, being that last year was their first year. So like I said, it's reasonable to have these projections for them, but like I said, from what the little bit that we saw with them, there's a lot of potential for both of them to be pretty good and a big part of, or a decent part of our offense.
One, here's what I like. If we look on the right side, look at our 4, rankings here.
And that means I think
that means we're a well-rounded team. Whereas you look at the Eagles, first offense, 16th defense. Obviously, you got some work done. And then in third place, you've got the Dolphins with the exact opposite. Mid-tier offense, great defense.
Yeah.
Right. And so if our season's actually able to play out like that, that's actually really good because that means we're a well-rounded team. Do we know if it's going to play out that way? Hell no. It's the Cowboys. It's definitely not going to play out that way, right? It means freaking April. What do we know now? Oh no.
We're doing
unit ranks. They hate our they hate our defensive interior, not surprised. Edge rushers, top 3. Love that. Very much makes sense.
Parsons, Lawrence, Dorrance Arms, yeah.
Off-ball linebackers, we are down near the end. We expected that.
Cox.
Van Der Esch, Clark, Cox, Harper, Jefferson. Okay. Corners, top 5. We expected that. Diggs, Gilmore, Bland, Wright, Joseph, expected. Safety unit, we should be near the top. Yep. Wilson, Curse, Hooker, Mukwamu, Bell. Coaching staff. Okay, so this is current coaching staffs. This isn't necessarily a ranking, just what it is currently. We got McCarthy, Brian Schottenheimer. He's just
even though he's
Mike McCarthy's calling the plays, right?
Yep.
Dan Quinn, happy with that.
And then the general manager,
Dark Overlord, God. I'm not even excited about that, but I just thought that was a really, really interesting document.
And with a lot of that is pre-draft stuff. So we'll see what the Cowboys can do with the draft. But with all that stuff that we were looking at, I like what the Cowboys have done this offseason to address a lot of needs. Definitely something they should have done last year, but now that they've decided to do it this year, I mean, it's nice to see that they've taken steps to try and be better than they were. But I mean, 11-6. That's a pretty good year. Hopefully they oh crap. Hopefully they can that comes to fruition. But it all matters what they do in the playoffs. I don't care if they limp into the playoffs. If they can, I want to see them win more than one playoff game. So we'll see what happens. We see what happens. We still have to get through the draft. We have to get
speaking of which, drafts in 2
training
weeks.
Camp.
2 weeks ish, or 2 weeks from Thursday. I'm pretty sure. So
yep,
that'll be exciting.
We'll see what happens. Hopefully we aren't as hopefully we're not as confused as we were last year whenever we got Tyler Smith. Although it worked. So if we are confused, it works this time.
I have a sneaking suspicion they're going to take offensive line in the first round again. We'll see what happens. I think it'll be interesting.
Although if they do that, they need to get somebody to replace Tyron.
I think
you may need to.
I would want like one of the top tackles to fall to us if that's going to happen. I'm not expecting that to happen. From what I hear, from what I understand, the media is a lot higher on a lot of receivers than most people, and so there's a chance a receiver we could like falls to us there. But also, I'd much rather go somewhere else and draft Marvin Mims in the second or third round. That's me.
I'd if it's available, I mean, I guess best, either
analytically, he's a top 3 receiver in the draft. Don't understand why people don't like him, because he's heavier than like most of the top receivers in the draft. He's also run faster than them, at heavier, and he's had more good production. Like, it happened out of high school, right? Like, he was only the most decorated receiver in the history of Texas high school football, but he was only a 3-star receiver. Explain that. He holds the record for most receiving yards, not only in a season but in a career for Texas high school football. 3-star receiver.
What do you play at? What do you play at?
Frisco Lone Star.
Gosh, I mean, and they've been pretty good the past few years. So I don't know. I mean,
like high 3-star, low 4-star receiver. Make it make sense. And guess what? He goes to OU and is good freshman season. In a year where he's had his freaking third coach in as many seasons, or whatever it is, his production's only gone up every year. He had his most productive season in our arguably worst offensive season.
Yeah.
And then he goes to the draft, the combine, and performs better than just about every other top-rated receiver. It doesn't make sense. You know what makes sense is people are going to draft everybody else because of their name and their intangibles. He's going to get drafted and make a team very, very happy. Please let that be the Cowboys. Please.
We got 2 weeks. We'll see what they end up doing. But until then, go Stars.
Go Stars. Go Jets. Go Oilers. Hopefully, by this time next week, we've locked up the number 1 seed. Fingers crossed. Knock on wood. Dink, dink. We were going on an hour. Hope everybody enjoyed it.
Get better.
This one not only was a little chaotic at the beginning, it got a little heated. I appreciate that. Thanks for listening. Rangers are extras, so I'm gonna go watch that game.
Really?
Yes. So
what the? Why?
Bullpen gave it up, man. Thanks for watching. We'll be back next week. Have a good one. Deuces.
Bye-bye.